Tonight, a Port Augusta local left emotionally drained and in shock after her home went up in flames. And from fun runs and citizenship ceremonies to conversations with First Nations people, we unpack the divisive day that is January 26.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. A Port Augusta local is in shock tonight after returning to her home only to find it on fire. Passers-by and neighbours watched on in horror as emergency crews rushed to the scene to prevent the flames from spreading. Daniel Pizarro has this exclusive report.
As smoke pours from her house, Natasha Lee could only look on in shock and despair.
Emotionally drained right now. I just want to scream and run for the hills and get away as far as I can and find my little quiet place.
It's believed the fire started around 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. Police and passers-by knocked on the doors of the neighbouring unit blocks as the situation deteriorated, and Natasha Lee discovered her house was on fire.
I went out for a walk like I normally do, and I'd been out for about half an hour. And then I noticed some smoke in that and all the traffic, and I picked up my speed a little bit more. Now I realised it was coming from the street, and I started jogging down the road. And a neighbour called out to me and said, "Tash, come here, it's your place."
Fire crews from Port Augusta, Stirling North and the CFS rushed to the scene and eventually brought the fire under control with no reported injuries. Police have launched a criminal investigation into the cause of the blaze and have declared the unit a crime zone. They're asking for any eyewitnesses with information to come forward. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta residents and organisations have been recognised in this year's Australia Day honours. South Augusta Football Club won the Community Event of the Year, while several locals were sworn in as Australia's newest citizens.
As the sun shone early in the morning, local organisations prepared a free breakfast for attendees of the 2023 Port Augusta Australia Day events. Local dignitaries included Member for Stewart Jeff Brock and Mayor Lindley Shine, who spoke of reconciliation and acknowledgement of the local Indigenous groups, as well as the multicultural aspect of Port Augusta.
It's all about unity. We have so many people that have contributed their lives to our beautiful country.
Several locals were also awarded their Australian citizenship in a lifelong journey for some.
Australia has been my dream country since my childhood. So we then got married and we planned to come to Australia and get settled here. And we love the culture and the tradition of this country, and we're very proud to be the Australian citizenship now.
Citizen of the Year went to Christopher Rowe for his extensive volunteer work, while South Augusta Football Club took Event of the Year for last year's Hog Rally.
I'm lost for words. I said I didn't see it coming. I've only really been doing stuff that involves the kids, and it's just ballooned from there.
Biggest off-field event in our history over the long weekend in October just gone. It wouldn't have been possible without the support of a huge number of South volunteers and the Port Augusta community in general, who welcomed the Hogs Harley owners to the town and to the region.
And the age-old tradition of thong throwing saw Jeff Brock and Mayor Shine get involved.
I was focusing on the rules, making sure the rules are actually being followed. So anyway, all good, a great fun morning and a lot of participation, so it was a wonderful day.
Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
While many of us spent the day relaxing on the beach and enjoying some delicious food, the Waiala community kicked off their day with a 5-kilometre fun run. While getting the blood pumping, organisers say the event is also the perfect way to showcase the city.
Ready and waiting at the starting line. A river of fitness buffs flowed through the streets of Waiala this morning to mark the beginning of another Australia Day with the city's annual fun run, the 5K loop spanning the Adirine Gardens and along the city foreshore. Easy work for the winner of the race, James Fox.
It's a bit of a battle, but no, it's just a great way to showcase Waiala, and given that we got that brand new jetty, it's just, it's so much fun getting out there, and especially on the way back, it was a bit of a tailwind, so it was brilliant.
We find that it's actually just over 40 years that we've been running the Australia Day Fun Run, and it's been a great turn up today.
Organisers say the event is not all about speed, but instead is a chance for the community to come together and achieve a common goal. Especially with participants opting out of that lovely public holiday sleep-in to instead get up and work up a sweat.
With the 5K sort of tires me a bit more.
It's a little bit tempting to jump into the water.
We encourage participation in groups, and we get particularly like sports clubs and gyms.
Harriers Running Club and the City Council, ensuring everyone was well hydrated and topped up on bananas to boost those energy levels.
I think we've had over 500 entrants this year, so I think it may even be a Waiala record.
With a year to stretch out achy muscles, most say they'll be back again next year.
Yeah, well, depends if I can wake him up early
Possibly.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, the other side of Australia Day. We hear from Indigenous community members who share their thoughts on January 26. And a city shaped by pride and hard work. Port Pirie launches a new ad campaign about what truly matters. Welcome back. For many Australians, January 26 is a day of celebration and pride. But for others, it's a stark reminder of colonialism and historic oppression. Young members of the Indigenous community in Port Augusta spoke with our reporter Daniel Pizarro about how they feel about Australia Day.
As debate over Australia Day rages, these Indigenous kids at the Port Augusta Youth Centre see January 26 as a day of recognition of their culture.
I think it's about Aboriginal land and culture, and they celebrate it.
Australia Day is to celebrate all different cultures, and to some that are Survival Day and Invasion Day.
I'm glad to be Indigenous, and it's a free country.
Celebrate Aboriginal cultures and Aboriginal language.
With a number of local councils across the country deciding to postpone citizenship ceremonies or declare January 26 as a day of mourning, 7 Spencer Golf News reached out to local authorities. The District Council of Mount Remarkable saying Council does not have a formal position on the matter. But in a statement from Port Pirie Regional Council, Mayor Leon Stevens said, Port Pirie Regional Council welcomes the changes to the Australian Citizenship Ceremonies Code, providing councils with greater flexibility and choice about when they hold citizenship ceremonies, whether it's on or either side of Australia Day, empowering councils to be considerate of the values and the needs of everyone in their communities. There has not been any suggestions or debate on the matter of Australia Day being seen as a day of mourning.
But one of the things I want to compliment is not only Port Pirie but also Port Augusta here. It's about multiculturalism, it's about diversity that our communities are going into.
Amid all the events today on January 26, Australia is having a national discussion. A discussion which will change the future of the country. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Towards the end of last year, Port Pirie residents might have noticed some camera crews and photographers perusing the city streets. And now all will be revealed as a new campaign focusing on community pride is launched.
Health, home and happiness. That's what matters to Port Pirie locals according to the residents themselves. Joining forces with targeted lead abatement program, the Here's What Matters campaign has officially launched, starting from the ground up.
A lot of those projects are starting now, so right at the moment seed collection is happening, so we're going to plant a lot of native seed on the railway corridor in Port Pirie. That collection of seed is happening right now.
In conjunction with Near Star and the state government, the TLAP initiative wants to see more local pride. So they thought what better way than to film a new communications campaign, capturing the heart and soul of the community.
Yes, we're looking to improve our communications with the public and the wider community.
The campaign showcases scenic locations in the city like Solomon Town Beach, as well as the abundance of cafes, shops and facilities available. The team spoke with families about what is important to them and found that everyone has a desire to see Port Pirie succeed. And they understand that at the core of that is better health outcomes for everyone.
Fixing the lead issue is just part of improving the prosperity of the city.
Part of the campaign includes a website with information about how to keep your home lead-free, as well as services TLAP offers.
Become more familiar with TLAP services and actually start contacting us to get additional advice and see if they can get assistance from us.
The campaign will be available from today on your TV screens, radio, social media and billboards. Annabella Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Broken Hill Council pinpoints locations to build more housing in the CBD. And changes to dog park rules in Waiala. When and where you can let your pooch off the leash. Welcome back. Broken Hill City Council held its ordinary meeting on Tuesday night as not to interfere with the Australia Day ceremony this morning. Though January is a quiet month in the Silver City, there were still some important matters to discuss, like more housing.
Council open for discussion in 2023. First on the agenda, a reply from the Minister for Local Government, Wendy Tuckerman, in regards to a letter sent about local government code of conduct.
The Minister's in charge of making sure that we have a code of conduct framework that helps all councils, helps the community. To send back correspondence that virtually says, don't worry about it, if you do the right thing it won't cost you.
The Council's main concern is a report that Ms Tuckerman sanctioned shows out of over 1,000 complaints lodged in the past 3 years, 147, or 1 in 9, were substantiated and cost council money.
That means of the 9 out of the 10 complaints cost the community money and there's no finding of guilt. Of those that there is a finding of guilt, there's usually such a minor breach of the code of conduct, there's no further action to be had.
Recently, code of conduct breaches cost the council over $50,000, with a lot of those complaints having no case to answer.
And the Minister needs to understand that she's there to look after councils and the community. To say, more or less to say that councillors often do the wrong thing is just, in my opinion, absolutely disgusting.
The other talking point at the meeting was that council has identified land that apartment complexes could be built on for future housing, though the plans are still in their infancy.
Obviously to fit in with the current skyline, and we want medium to high density housing, so you want to focus that around CBD areas or all areas of high employment, so making sure that we've got that foot traffic.
Council's next meeting will take place in the first week of March. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Electoral Commission of South Australia says overall the 22 local government elections were a success in terms of voter turnout. However, 10 council areas are still without a full team. And in order for the communities to function at full capacity, councils need to have the vacant positions filled at the upcoming supplementary election in March.
It's really about representation of everybody and everybody's views within that area. So if you don't have a full council, you're obviously not necessarily having the views of the whole district being put forward.
Tomorrow is the last day to nominate yourself. So if this is something you've been considering, there's no time like the present. The Waiala City Council has amended a recent bylaw to give dog walkers more freedom. In April 2022, a blanket rule ensuring that dogs are kept on leashes from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. along the foreshore was put into effect, including at the quieter end of the beach. But now community members have successfully swayed council to break the foreshore into different segments.
Council has changed its decision. You can now have your off-leash activity and access to the foreshore between the caravan park and the mangroves as previously.
Council advises residents to be mindful of their pets and to only take them off their leash if they can be kept under control. Stay with us after the break. A bus attempts a three-point turn on the Joybaluch Bridge. We'll have the video next. And temps in the 40s tomorrow. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. A good crowd showed up at Jubilee Oval last night to see the winner crowned in the T20 final. Broken Hill locals were treated to a close game with an unbeaten streak coming to an end and making for an interesting last few games of the regular season.
It came down to the last ball of the evening. And the 2022-23 T20 champions are the North Broken Hill Bulldogs, giving West their first loss this season.
It's unbelievable. First bit of silverware for the year that's on offer. Really good. These games against West always go down to the wire, and so to win a 2020 under lights, it's pretty fun to win by one run.
North batted first and looked to make some quick runs. Riley Bomford and captain Tobias Hack combining early to help get North into a comfortable position, while vice-captain Jordan Vella also with a great knock.
I thought through the middle overs when we were batting, it was really important to try and get some quick runs on a pretty difficult wicket and a bit of a slow outfield, and then to restrict them to 80 as well in a 2020 is just good bowling and good fielding as well by everyone.
While it may have been a difficult wicket, the Bulldogs weren't too phased, as West also had to make runs on it.
It's a war of attrition. It's got a real grind of a game. So even in a 2020, it all happens very quickly. But then you've got to be on your toes and know when to make moves. And pretty much some luck's got to go your way as well.
Though wickets came early for North, West captain Mackenzie Attard stepped up for his side with a captain's knock and almost winning them the game.
They're a class side with Mackenzie Attard and Max Everest. They're two really class batters. They batted perfectly what they needed to do through their middle overs and pretty nearly took the game away from us.
The victors don't get much time to savour the win, as attention now turns to Saturday's game against Central, with 40 degrees predicted for the day.
So not much time to rethink it, playing Central again. So that's just one little stepping stone we've got to try and get over to beat those guys and try and get some points back on West.
Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Golf News.
It was a horrible day at the office for this Port Augusta bus driver yesterday, who found himself in quite the pickle at the entry to the Joy Beluch Bridge. Missing his turn, the driver attempts to perform a 3-point turn that quickly becomes more of a 7-pointer because of the bus's size. Fellow commuters sharing their frustrations with the driver's antics on social media. With the bridge duplication still ongoing, motorists are advised to pay attention to the signage and road closures as they approach the bridge to avoid making the same mistakes. Poor thing. And just in case you were wondering, a Fish and Tips segment will be back next week. We gave our experts the day off. But it's time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, how was the public holiday?
It depends where you were, Maddie. Mostly sunny conditions across the region, and there's more where that came from. Looking at some of today's temperatures now, and we have a bit of a theme here. It was 32.8 degrees in Port Augusta this afternoon, 32 in Broken Hill as well. Port Pirie also recorded 32 degrees today, just before 2:30. Looking more broadly at today's weather map now, Cooper Pedy reached 39, 34 in Woodner, just 25 in Kadina, 23 in Port Lincoln. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a high pressure system south of the Bight will move east to be in the Tasman Sea tomorrow. A trough and cold front will move across from the west, followed by another high moving south of the Bight on Sunday. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. East to southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, turning northeasterly early in the morning. Winds will reach up to 20 knots south of Port Neal to Port Victoria tomorrow evening. Seas around a metre, and south to southwesterly swell between 1 and 1.5 metres. A mostly sunny top of 34 degrees in Port Lincoln tomorrow. Cleve will reach 40 degrees down to 16 tonight, and a whopping 42 degrees in Woodner, mostly sunny conditions. It will also be mostly sunny and a top of 38 degrees in Waiala and Kadina on Friday. A sunny top of 41 in Port Augusta. Port Pirie blue skies and set to reach a max of 40 degrees again. 36 in Clare, between 17 and 37 in Broken Hill. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Saturday's outlook. Showers and cloudy coverage across the Gulf, 32 in Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 29 in Waiala, Kadina and Adelaide, possible showers, and 26 in Woodner, 40 in Broken Hill. No rain on Sunday. Pirie, the only centre on our map to top 30 degrees. 29 in Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Broken Hill. 28 in Woodna and Kadina. Partly cloudy, top of 25 in Waiala. 22 in Port Lincoln. Taking a look at Monday now, warming up a bit for the start of the working week. Sunny in Woodna, 31 degrees, 30 in Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Kadina. Partly cloudy and 32 in the Silver City, partly cloudy and 27 degrees in the Still City. And just quickly, Maddie, the very latest from the Bureau is that the northeast and northwest pastoral districts can expect heat wave conditions tomorrow. It's going to be a hot Friday. Try and stay cool. It's back to you.
Very warm tomorrow indeed. Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.